Good afternoon. This is Pastor Carol Gates from Lamb of God Lutheran Episcopal Church in Fort Myers, Florida. I'm out at Miramar Lakes, and it's a beautiful, beautiful day here, and I'm going to be speaking with Denise Weiner in just a few minutes. So glad that you could join us as we begin our series, The Good News Now. Hi, Denise. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm terrific.
Great. It's so nice of you to let us come out here this afternoon and
Oh,
take
it's
time to visit with you
my
at this
pleasure.
beautiful, beautiful site at Miramar Lakes. So, what we're doing here is we really believe that there is a shortage of good news now during this pandemic period. And when we hear the news, most of it's negative. It leaves us feeling sad or depressed or anxious. And we know that there's wonderful stories that are happening. So, this theme, if you will, was born from just a few of us talking about sad news and turning it to good news now. And the good news, those of us who are part of the Christian faith know that the good news is the good news of Jesus Christ. So, what better news could there be, right? So, I'm so grateful again for you being here. And the way we're going to work this is very casual. And I know I've kind of given you some idea of questions that I might ask you. The first, though, I'm going to start with your horoscope. And this horoscope comes from a website which is truly called the Good News Network, and it's been around for 20 years. And the gentleman who puts these together is an astrologer, and he puts together the free will astrology every week. So I did take the liberty of looking up your astrological sign, and please let me read it to you. You are a Libra. In his masterpiece, the Mona Lisa, Leonardo da Vinci applied 30 layers of paint that were no thicker than a human hair. Can you imagine the patience and the concentration that required? As a painter, I bet you can. I'm going to propose, and I'm is not me, it's the author of this, that you be inspired by Da Vinci's approach as you carry out your big projects in the coming year. I think you will have the potential to create at least one labor of love that's monumentally subtle and soulful. So, Denise, the question is, do you have one of those monumental projects in your I wish I had time to do it bucket?
I do, and actually, it's also part of the good news of this year. I was fortunate to take a creative writing course with someone who was just wonderful, and that got me working and finishing a book that I had in process for about 12 years. Now I have to illustrate it, and it's not a question of time. I simply need to apply myself and get it done. And when I get it done, I know that it will make a difference in people's lives because it's about finding yourself and where you belong and joy.
I'm familiar with that book. It's great. It's a really wonderful book that does fill you with joy and accomplishments at the things that you can do. For those of you who are with us viewing this, Denise is also an artist, which she has not shared with you. So illustrating it is something Denise herself can do. So I'm looking forward to that because I've seen some of your artwork as well already. The other thing is that what I realize is that during the course of the year, and this may be similar to our first question, but it really isn't, we all have good stories that have touched us in ways that inspire us. And I'm wondering if you have one of those stories or that sticks out during this time.
It's been an interesting time paying attention to what has given me joy and what has given people around me joy. And the thing that I would say is community and connectedness. There were a handful of us who stayed in my neighborhood over the summer. Everybody looked out for each other. I'm going to Costco today. Do you need anything? Or if you're out of toilet paper, I have some extra, and it reminded me of growing up I grew up in Newark where, you sat on the front porch, at the end of the day and everybody kind of gathered. So that has been truly wonderful. And being kind of the breakdown of all physical barriers because you could always reach out to somebody on Zoom or FaceTime. Of course, I miss my family, but we
Right.
did a lot of things. We painted online. Oh, my son-in-law even did he's a DJ, did a dance night couple of times. It's really provided an opportunity to be kind of quiet. And once I got past the fear, I tried to manage the news cycles
Hmm.
because it was very, very difficult. So I would watch a little bit to see what was going on, but I really wanted to hear good news. And again, on a personal level, 5 couples that are my very best friends all moved to Miramar this summer.
Okay. That's great.
So even with the holidays, I wasn't sad not seeing my family. I would have preferred that they were
Right.
here, but we celebrated, in our own way, a barbecue on Christmas Day. I
Hmm.
mean, there were no rules.
Right.
Everything was wide open.
Right. That for sure is good news. And in the midst of all this, where is your faith at?
Oh, huge. Um, it's a hard question to answer in a sentence. Um, I found myself many Sundays participating in 3 different services. Yours, my previous church in New Jersey, and sometimes the cathedral in Washington.
Oh, wow.
So spending time that way, um, even in my pajamas, which made it better, and a cup of
And a
coffee,
cup of
because
coffee.
moving around for me is a little bit of a challenge.
Uh-huh.
So I could participate very easily, that way. And we had a big discussion the other day with some of my friends who were some Jewish, some Episcopal, some former Catholics. And we really came down to the fact that whatever your faith is, and mine obviously is Christian with Jesus being at the center of it, it's about being a light in the world.
Mm,
And I saw so much evidence of that this year.
that's wonderful. And that really ties everything together because the good news is, and maybe you know this, this is Epiphany Day,
Oh
where
boy, that's
the
right.
the three kings were led by the star and the light, and you just tied that in very nicely. So thank you for that.
You're very
Thank you.
welcome.
And thank you for joining us, and we
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate it. And this is Pastor Carol Gates from Miramar Lakes for the Good News Now.